Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be focusing on circles, which is again part of geometry. So let's get started. Okay, before we even start on anything, we need to know the labels of how to label a circle and how to identify the different parts of a circle. So what we are going to do is we're going to just check what's happening and see what you know about your circles. Okay, so the outside of a circle is called the circumference. Okay, circumference. It's almost like the perimeter of the outside of your circle. That's pretty much what it means. It's just the outside, like a perimeter of a square is the outside of a square. Your circumference is the outside of your circle. Then you've got something that goes right across from one side to the other side of the circumference. You'll notice it goes from there to there. I'm actually going to put a little point O here, which is the center of the circle. Okay, so what you'll notice is this line travels from the one side of your circumference through the center to the other side, and that is called the diameter. You'll notice it's got the word di, or the prefix di, and that means to cut in two or two parts. So diameter. Then you've got this little piece that comes out from the center of your circle to the outside, and that is known as your radius. So think of this as as like a pizza. Okay, you sharing your pizza, you cut it in half, you get that side and your friend gets the other side. Then another friend comes in and you have to cut it in half again, and you get this side, etc, etc. Okay, so you can kind of work around it and you can kind of get a feel as to how to understand the different parts of your circle using pizza. Okay, all right. Then there's this one part that cuts right across again from the side of the circumference to the other side. Now you'll notice this one doesn't go through the center. Now the reason why it doesn't go through is because this is actually called a chord. Okay, not a chord. I know it looks like it, but it's called a chord. And what the chord does is it separates the two parts of the circle. Now, I sometimes use pizza as an example. Imagine an uncut pizza, so pizza that has not been sliced, full pizza, and your friend or maybe your brother or sister takes a knife and decides to cut one piece off across like that. I'm sure it's happened somewhere along your life there. But that is separating it. So for example, if your sister or brother did do that, he or she might give you the small piece, that's the minor segment, and they would get the major segment, which is this whole thing over here. Okay, so that is called a chord. That is your circumference, this is your diameter, and this is your radius. Now there is one extra line that I have left out, and I did it on purpose because I want to draw it in. So some schools are teaching it at this point for grade 7 and some aren't, but I'm just going to put it in because it is going to come in sometime in the next few months, or even for next year when you go to high school. And there's this line that touches just the edge of a circle, and this line, I'm just going to put it over here, is called a tangent. Okay, so the tangent is the line that touches the edge of the circle. Okay, so those are your 5 main parts of your circle that you need to know. Okay, all right, so in my pack, you'll find my pack on my website, www.mrsdupree.co.za. But in my pack, I've given you a couple of activities to do. So for example, you'd identify the major and minor segments. Remember, the chord does that. There's your minor segment, and the rest would be my major segments. It would also ask you to identify the center points of the circle. Okay, and then here are some definitions. So we'll just go through them just so that you know them, and then we can move on to actually drawing circles. Okay, here you've got the perimeter of the circle. So that's the outside of the circle. Remember, we called it the circumference, so we can write that there, circumference. Okay, the next one is a line from the one side of the circle to the other, passing through the center of the circle. Now your key word is this. Let me just take my pen away. Center of the circle. So any line that goes from one side of the circle to the other and passes through the center is called the diameter. Okay. The diameter will always cut your circle in half. Okay, then the line from the center of the circle out to the circumference is called your radius. Now please note, your circle is not always going to look like this in a diagram in assessments and tests. The diameter can be anywhere. Okay, we can put it in any position as long as it touches one side of the circumference and the other side and passes through the center. And the same goes for the radius. The radius could be here, it could be there, it could be there, it could be anywhere, as long as it starts in the middle and goes out to the edge. Okay, so just something to be aware of, because if you learn this off by heart like this, and then you get a diagram and the radius is actually sitting on this side, I don't want you to get confused. Okay, so just be aware, the radius and the diameter can actually be anywhere on the circle, okay, as long as it's obviously doing what it has to do. So your diameter has to pass through the center and touch both sides. Your radius has to come from the middle and out, almost like your pizza slices. Wherever your pizza is, the two edges of your pizza slice, that's going to be your radius. Okay, and then the last question was a line segment that connects one point of the circumference to another point on the circumference without passing through, and there's your key word here, without passing through the center of the circle, and that is called your chord. Okay, nice and simple. Okay, now let's do a couple of activities. Okay, so we don't want you obviously to get these wrong, because this is the fun part, this is the drawing part. Now, in order to draw a circle, there are not many people that can draw this beautiful, perfect circle. Okay, so what we use is something called a compass. Okay, so the compass, what you do is obviously you use a ruler. So this is where your ruler comes in, and you can use your ruler to measure whatever you need to. Okay, so we are going to look at the following circles. We need to draw the following circles in the space below, and we're going to draw a circle with a radius of 3 centimeters. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to take the compass and we are going to draw, or we're going to measure perfectly, as accurately as you can, a 3 centimeter radius. Now your protractor measures 3 centimeters. This measures radius. Okay, and you'll see why now. So when you put it in, and it hints to use this pencil that's smaller than your compass, because if you don't, you're going to have this problem of the pencil getting in the way. Okay, so there is my circle. If you notice, you'll see that it has a little dot where the needle was, and we are going to just draw a little line from the center out, and this is my radius of 3 centimeters. So if you want to check it, use your ruler, and your ruler will help you to see that it's a 0 to 3. Can you see that? It's a perfect 3 centimeter radius. If I had to ask you what the diameter is, you would tell me from this side to the other side, it would be 6. Okay, and just remember that for later, because one of the activities just now is also going to be exactly the same. Okay, now we're going to look at a circle with a radius of 45 millimeters. So I've just changed it over and changed it to the millimeter sign, and we are going to do the same. Let's just get it as accurately as we can. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing and draw it across. Sometimes you have to go over a few times. Just make sure your pencil is smaller than your compass, because else it does get in the way, and then you maneuver in that. And another thing is sometimes you'll find that your protractor is quite loose. All you need to do is to take a screwdriver, and then you'll see that there's a little screw here. Just tighten it, and then you'll see that your your compass won't move as much. Okay, just a little bit of a hint. Okay, most of the kids that come to me when they have a geometry test, I always check their compasses before they go. Okay, now this question is asking you for something a little bit different. This is asking you to draw a circle with a diameter of 8. Now remember, a diameter of 8 is going from one side of the circle to the other. Remember, a compass only measures the radius. So we are going to take this, and what do we know about the radius and diameter? So what you would have realized now is that the diameter is double the radius. Or what we could say is the radius is half of the diameter. So we are going to position this onto 4, or let's just use the centimeters because that's what it's asking for, 0 to 4. And you'll notice, and I'm going to show you now how this works. We're just going to draw a 4 centimeter radius, and let's hope that when we use the ruler, here's my ruler, can you see that from that side to the center it is 4 centimeters? Remember they asked for 8, so that is your diameter. Can you see from one side of the circle to the other is 8 centimeters? So we write that diameter equals 8 centimeters. Okay, don't use your ruler and find 8 as your diameter like that, because this is not your diameter. This is going to be your radius, and you're going to have a very big circle to deal with. Okay, we won't really ask you to draw such a big circle. Last one is a circle with a diameter of 70 millimeters. Now, if you can't do half of 70, try and work out ways that you can. Okay, so obviously you can use short division, okay, where you say 2 goes into 7 3 times with 1 remaining, 2 goes into 10 5 times. Or what you can do is break up 70 into 2 numbers. I've just got a couple of ways of trying to help you with halving. Half of 60 is 30, half of 10 is 5, 30 plus 5 is 35. So can you see that half, or the radius of 70 millimeters is actually going to be a 35 millimeter radius? So we need to work out what a 35 millimeter radius is. There it is, and we can draw that right over here. And again, they've asked for diameter, so we are going to draw that in, and if we look carefully, we should have a 70 millimeter, and that is a perfect circle. Okay, and we write there diameter 70 millimeters. Okay, well, I hope this has helped you to draw circles and to understand how to work circles. We'll do a little bit more on circles at a later stage, but please, if you want any of the packs, they are available on our website, which is down in the description below. And if you want to comment, please feel free to comment or private message me, and I will be able to help you with whatever you need. Okay, bye.